Om. Gayatri Mahamantra. With your back straight, both hands upon your laps, left beneath the right. Om Bhurabhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Today is the part 13 of the mystical Gayatri Mahamantra. We are on to understand the meaning of the words of Gayatri Mahamantra. Let us understand the meaning of the words of this vibratory punctuation. The first part of the mantra begins as Om Bhur Bhuvah Swaha. And now it proceeds to the further second part of it, which is Tat Savitur Varenyam. Now, before we go on to the aspects of the second part, that is the Tat Savitur Varenyam, one must give all credit to the great exalted ones who were able to envisage the vibratory source that led to the creation of this entire cosmos. These immutable vibrations are represented through 24 letters. It may appear to be a reiteration, but it's important to reiterate. Known as Akshara. Akshara, Akshara, something which will never disengage, disembark, dismantle, disintegrate. Immutable. Punctuated by the wisdom of the great exalted ones, the Gayatri Mahamantra is the source to the entire visible and the subtlest existence that prevails around us or anywhere. Now we embark upon those 24 triggers of this cosmos, starting from Tat onwards. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Three parts. Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. So the first word is Tat. Tat of the first part of the Gayatri Mahamantra. The first part was Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. It was an introduction. It was a kind of a prefix, you may term it as, something that precedes the main Gayatri Mahamantra. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha does not count to be the part of those 24 vibratory triggers. They start from Tat onwards. And Tat is the first word. It does not mean it is a letter. No, it is a word. It comprises two letters. There is no doubt about that. But it's one word. Now, what does this Tat mean? Tat Savitur Varenyam. Tat is an indication. It's just an indication that. Tat means that. Tat means that. It's an indicative word given to the one and the only source of this entire existence in all of its forms. There are many synonyms used to mention it by certain names like higher consciousness, almighty, all pervasive, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, Brahma, eternal, eternity, infinite, so much, even unmanifest also at times. Its stature is beyond any expressive measure. Therefore, no name can be given to it which can confine or suffice its ambit. So, rising above the conflict, the great masters probably envisaged that let us express this word, express or assign this creator with an assignage of an indication, which is Tat. For there is no other word available to humans in their dictionaries which can comprise and do justice with infinity and eternity. Infinity and eternity cannot be given justice by any word which has been coined by a human and on this planet. I don't know about elsewhere, but I believe that infinity and eternity will hold the same significance for life at any other plane of the entire universe. Now, those that worship deities, especially with form, truly aspire to touch the realms of the Tat, that is, that, by a facilitation of a name and a form which is convenient to their sensory driven human mind. The idea is to connect with something which is all pervasive, to connect with something which is omnipresent, something which falls to infinity and eternity. How do you connect to that? Your sensorial drivers have their own limitations. When the moment you started understanding things about life, it was with some name, some form, obviously holding its own respective measure. But here comes a subject which breaks the shackles of all confinements. So, therefore, the name too has to be such which is beyond any conflict, whether you believe in it or you do not believe it, whether you ascribe as a person who is a believer in existence of God, or you ascribe to an understanding where you believe that there is some super principle working behind the entire existence, believer or non-believer. There is no problem when or no conflict when it comes to accept an indication as an assignage to it. That conflict ceases. That's why Gayatri Mahamantra is accepted by all the believers and the non believers, because it does not enforce any particular form, any particular name, any particular sect. No, it does not. It can be something which is pervasive, all pervasive, no confinement. Just think, how would you indicate it in your own silent terms through gestures? For example, if you're sitting like this and I ask you, uh, whom are you trying to contemplate upon? You can merely simply move your neck upward, saying like that. Or you may do something like this, or like that. It's an indication, isn't it? So, no conflicts when it comes to indication, because here you're trying to indicate upon something beyond any measure. The word tat in Sanskrit connects one, the human, with that immutable one. Deeply contemplating, it takes one beyond limitations of any entrapment or confinement of time and space. One may practice this to observe the outcome of the contemplation of the single word tat. For example, if you have to close your eyes and you simply start contemplating upon tat, that eternity, tat, that infinity. Yes, initially your intellect may run and reach out to available ambits of your understanding, but soon you shall give up and exhaust all your futile exercise and then land into a dimension of nothingness. For now, you are left with nothing to support and stand. You go on contemplating within yourself, within yourself. You're contemplating upon God, no, forget about God. You're contemplating upon any deity? No. What are you contemplating upon? I am contemplating upon infinity and eternity. Infinity and eternity. I'm just contemplating upon that, and that is Tat. And you go on contemplating within yourself. The kind of expansiveness that you gather within yourself is adequate enough if you are able to spend and afford some time to this apparently a weird kind of a contemplation. Yes, apparently weird, but a very thoughtful weirdness. A thoughtful weirdness which will help you to break the entrapments of your understanding. merely closing your eyes and contemplating upon the first word of Gayatri, Tat, not going beyond that. And Tat is now an indication to, I'm repeating it again and again. Why? So that the understanding grounds into you. It's not something which should confine to your understanding, your intellect accepts or rejects, but it moves further. No, it has to now go and establish its essence within your entire existence that we term as pran pratishtha. And how would that happen? That would happen only when you stay onto the first word, tat, an indication to that eternity and infinity, and you hold yourself there. Hold yourself, contemplate upon only tat, that, the infinity and eternity. Does something come to your mind? Maybe your own Ishtadev, your deity may appear before you, and then you again say, no, it is without form. Infinity and eternity is without form. It cannot be kept into any kind of an encasement of this limitation. So it has to go beyond. Okay, now again you come back to the same infinity and eternity. What could it be? No answer will come to you. It will be all blankness. And that is what Krishna means. Krishna means a kind of black. Black means a blankness, of course. Something has not manifested yet, and you're still pondering upon that. You're trying to contemplate, think upon that. Let it come. Be there. Be there in this apparently weird exercise and stay there. Hold on to that tat, that limitless, that infinite eternity, where from everything comes, and you're still there. Anything coming? No, nothing comes. Nothing will come, but something is happening into you. What is happening into you? The happening transpires into you by breaking all those so far limitations that otherwise disallow you to question certain beliefs about the Almighty, about the Creator, about that omnipresent. This contemplation merely upon Tat, merely upon the word Tat, the first word of the Gayatri Mahamantra, it will remove all support system that so far your belief system holds upon, banks upon, including fear, greed, anything that you seek, anything you seek in this mortal plane from something which you hold as exalted one, maybe you something you hold as divine, everything will break apart because now you're talking and contemplating upon something which is much beyond, which existed even before those moments when the first letter of any language communication it manifested up into the human mind, or whether it was the language that came into creation, or whether the human also existed ever at that time. Now you're thinking about something of that kind. Can someone measure infinity? No, cannot. Going towards the past and moving, looking forward, bhut bhavyasya. That's how Upanishads mention it. Bhut bhavyasya. Because they know the present is in between. That's why they only mention the past and the future. If you have to comprehend infinity, while standing in the present, you have to think about the past. Can you measure the time? No, you cannot. Can you measure the time into infinity, running into the future? No, you cannot. And if you can measure, then that is not infinity, because infinity is beyond any measure. Eternity is beyond any measure. So, Gayatri Mahamantra breaks the shackles, the entrapments of any confinement and connects you with the true source of this entire existence in all of its form, whether in the gross, subtle, the subtlest. That's what we say, sthula, sukshma, karana. Beyond these three dimensions, these planes of existence, the gross, the subtle, and the subtlest, going beyond these is that. So you must understand what does that mean. That means tat. That means tat. The beatitude is in the Sanskrit tat and in the English that there is only one letter which has to be removed, and that is H. Let H be taken and accepted for what? For this presence. Like a sandwich between the past and the future. So remove H and it is Tat. And bring that here into it, the moment now, the power of now, and it becomes that. So Tat enables you transcend beyond the confinements of your own understanding, and you become the true believer of something which may be higher consciousness, if you're a believer in God, or something which is a super principle that leads to the entire manifestation of this creation as a disbeliever, non believer, whatever may be. But now you have broken those boundaries which so far you understood and accepted that this is God. No, it is beyond. It's beyond scale, it's beyond measure. You cannot comprehend it that easy. Imagine the vibrations that arise by its incantation, chanting as a japa. Now, this is the other part of the beatitude of the science of Gayatri. Not only that you contemplate upon infinity and eternity by merely closing your eyes, but at the same time, when you chant or undergo incantation japa within yourself, ta ta tat, these two letters, when they combine in their own form, in their composite form, they trigger a specific vibration. And as the exalted ones mention, that the center of this word in a body, center of this word means a subtle part of our body which directly has a significance and a relation with this letter, this word tat, is in the center of our eyebrows, in the middle of your eyebrows, right over here, that we also term as Agya Chakra. Yes, behind which there exists the pineal gland. So the point for the center of the eyebrows is the one which the chanting of this mantra, this special word, tat, it triggers. It triggers the activation of it. Now, do you mean to say that it activates merely by the chanting of it? No, it does not, because everything has its own due process or procedure and time. But yes, it is the source which goes on to touch this subtle center within the center of our eyebrows, tatta. So that is termed as a tapini granthi. Granthi means a knot, K-N-O-T, knot. Tapani is the name which given by the great exalted ones to this particular knot, yes, which exists in the subtle dimension within our body, the subtle body which we have, Tapini Granthi. So this word, when chanted, goes and activates or goes in order to make some difference to the Tapini Granthi over here. So the word tat holds enough significance as a trigger, as a vibratory trigger within our own dimension, which is our existence. And apart from that, if you go on and comprehend upon it, it breaks the boundaries which have so far entrapped you into some kind of a limitation. Because once you start contemplating upon infinity and you're able to touch eternity, infinity, even by contemplation, however weird it may appear, you are able to break so many perceptory confinements which you may not realize on that particular moment. Because on that particular moment, it may be so that you undergo this weird exercise, but do not come out with any specific outcome that you can relate to your contemplation. But you don't know what has undergone into you. Within you, enough has already transpired, which you realize after a passage of time. And these words, they mark a difference when they come out of someone who has practiced it. Yes, this is not my daily practice to go and contemplate upon Tat, but whenever I have done it earlier, it led me to break certain entrapments which otherwise I was not able to break. Most of the times, we are really entrapped into our own hardened perception that we are not able to come out. And unless we come out of the box, the new dimensions do not unravel before us. Give it a serious thought. Try to contemplate upon this, the meaning of Tat within yourself. And believe me, you may start with awareness, but you will not end this exercise as futile. No, no futility, but something meaningful shall certainly come and add to your own seat of understanding. Enough for this particular session of mystical Gayatri Mahamantra. ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है.